Commissioners, your meeting is live.
Okay, welcome to the March 12th meeting of the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh.
You missed it. Okay, do you have any public comment today? Seeing none, we'll go to commission comments. Commissioner Ford?
Yeah, you're gonna have to give me a moment here.
Okay.
Just for the record, phone went down. I have not had a chance to look at the agenda, anything here, so.
Okay.
And I
You
did
want-
send my notes, but they've seemed to disappear too, so I
You
don't.
want to wait for a few minutes?
Go ahead and let Greg go and come
Okay.
back. to
I
me
think I'll
here.
go. I've got long today, not like these. So, on Monday after the county officials lunch, I met with Jacob Hansen and then David Adams to discuss some of the reorganization plans and miscellaneous county business. Tuesday morning was the first meeting for the Flint Hills Veterans Coalition, and reviewed last year's Veterans Day Parade and discussed some things. You know, each year they fine tune it a little more, make some adjustments. After that, I met with Megan Lewis to discuss reorganization and catch up on what's going on in corrections. Tuesday afternoon, I attended the groundbreaking for the Yuma Street Culture Center. I think it'll be a great feature for the city. It's, I've seen the plans. It's really going to be quite a building. I've always thought that was an interesting building. And I thought, why don't they need to do something with it? I wanted to get it inside. I wanted to see inside the building, but I'm sure for safety reasons, they weren't allowing people in there, but that's what I want. You know me, I wanted to go in and poke around, see what it looked like.
I think I have heard a story that when Jackie Robinson was stationed at Fort Riley, he used to hang around down there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of history there.
And then Wednesday morning, I met with Rich, discussed the Manhattan Housing Review at their Tuesday night meeting. They got a little bit on the radio this morning that the new commissioners stated that the workforce housing should be 200 to 250,000, not 320. They also said they didn't think RHID should be used, and any tax breaks and subsidies to developers should be closely monitored. Money, and I need to go back and watch the full discussion because they were adamant about how things need to be changed. And then Wednesday after that, I had the quarterly meeting for the Adabus. The audit from last year was presented. The results of a transit study were presented, showing how some routes could be changed and added to better serve the public. One item was there's more need for more routes in Junction City. Unfortunately, later we got the report that Junction City, Gary County, and USD 475 have all cut their funding drastically to out of us. So we won't be adding any routes. And a contract was signed for a new bus shelter near 5th and Leavenworth. It's going to be part of a city project at that intersection. It's primarily to serve the high rise there and also the senior center, which is just on the end of that block.
And the post office too.
Yeah, and the post office. There's a lot of stuff right there. And he said, the street's so narrow now, it's hard for the buses to stop, but they put a little turnoff there for them to get a bus stop. And then had a contract for new software systems, which will improve staff time and also make it easier to use for riders calling in. And the final item was a triennial review that's required by the federal or funds, and found one small deficiency, and which has been corrected, and so everything's going well. And then in the afternoon, I also spent some time with Jacob Hansen and then Shiloh to go over county businesses. That's good.
Okay, Commissioner Ford, have you?
Yeah,
found your-
I got it pulled up finally.
Okay,
Not a terribly busy week, but a stressful one nonetheless. Tuesday, I realized I went back to work for the first time in almost 3 weeks. Trips to Washington DC, Topeka, for county day and township meeting actually took place on the days I typically work. So, and boy, did I feel it. We had our, several technological issues there too. So, Tuesday evening, against my better judgment, decided to watch the K-State men's opener in the Big 12 tournament. We did hang in there for a while. I give them that, but back-to-back 100 points given up. It hasn't happened since like 1954 or something. So I guess the season ends disappointingly at 12-20, but let's hope we get it figured out, I guess. But I guess on good news, Wednesday evening, K-State picked up a pretty solid win at home against Wichita State. 13-4 to start out. I'm trying to think. I think maybe 2012 was the last time they got out to this start. So we'll see how it goes.
One last night,
The one last night too.
9-0.
Good. So I guess they're 14-4 then. Didn't catch that one. Wednesday afternoon, our monthly call for NACO's Community Economic and Workforce Development Committee was canceled due to the short proximity to the recent legislative conference. Not sure if they're going to reschedule a time in March or not. They're setting out some kind of a poll to see if we still want to do that. And then last night, to finish things off, I attended the March Business After Hours at Manhattan Area Technical College. It was hosted by the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce and sponsored by both Landmark National Bank and KS State Bank. Well attended. There was probably well over 150 people there. Gave out some prizes, talked about some things MATC is doing, and just another good opportunity to talk and discuss things along the way. So, and that's all I got.
well, Monday, we had the county officials lunch in our chambers here. Discussion was held on several issues, plus on the upcoming changes in the county structure. Several good ideas were presented to the group and the commission. Later that afternoon, I had a meeting with a contractor on some fencing in my yard. I used this contractor last year for similar work, and we came to an agreement on what needed to be done in time for. These contractors get pretty busy. So, Tuesday, I had an appointment downtown and then went to our offices downtown and looked at various spaces in the building for upcoming needs. Stopped into the county attorney's office and our county counselor's office and talked a little bit. Later, I spent time reading documents for the law board meeting next week. Went to Wildcat Park with my dog. Park looks really good, with some trees trimmed and all the dry grasses have been mowed. So it's really a good place. Yeah, it really looks good. Beautiful day and enjoyed the time there. Too bad the weather didn't hold. Wednesday, I caught up on paperwork and started working on taxes for 2025. It's going to take some time. I spent time reviewing the agenda documents for today's meeting and upcoming agendas. And then last night, practiced with the bell choir and attended the weekly Lenten service at church. That's all I have.
Business commissioners, for President Manhattan, motion I will use to amend with Twin Valley to Board of Telecommunications Service job at North 52nd between Anderson Avenue and City Road.
I'll go ahead and move to approve the highway use permit presented by Twin Valley.
No second.
As I moved and seconded to approve the highway use permit in Twin Valley, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair, please sign. On county purchase card request.
I'd move to approve the Riley County P card request.
I'll second.
This is moved and seconded to approve the Raleigh County P card request. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair, please sign. First, you need a motion on Raleigh County Employee Action Form, Sydney Tracy, EMTs, and examine the separation of service, Robert Mullen, paramedic, EMS and ambulance separation of service, Cog, new hire volunteer firefighter, Peggy Grader, and Pedro Sandoval, elections and clerk elections.
Do I make a motion to approve the requested employee action forms?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the request for Raleigh County employee action forms. All in favor?
Aye.
All three, please sign. Any items for the joint city county meeting, commissioners?
Does it matter?
Well, in that Food and Farm Council update, didn't we just have that 2 or 3 months ago at that intergovernmental?
Yeah, we did have them.
I've seen the East Gateway a handful of times now. We don't want to talk about the issue that's actually pertinent to Riley County, so I'm just not seeing the point. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think we need to have a discussion at the end of
Yeah.
this.
Stephanie gives a good presentation and lays it out, but quite honestly, at the end of the day, it's not pertinent to Riley County except for law enforcement. And we don't want to talk about
We
that.
won't talk about that, yeah.
You know, with the city talking about the housing studies and everything like that yesterday and seeing kind of what their positions are, maybe that would be an interesting conversation to have with them.
Well,
Yeah, and I
It was
haven't
real
seen
interesting
that.
listening to the meeting. but
Yeah,
I just
kinda
heard a little bit of it, but
I'm gonna go
they
over.
were, Stephanie was making notes with, you're not doing that again, basically is what they told us.
Yeah, they've had time to assess their new direction now. Given the meeting
No.
was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, just
Getting no items for that, anything for intergovernmental lunch? All like to attend?
Yeah.
Sure.
What was on the agenda for that? I haven't had a chance to look at this morning's meeting. I'm sorry.
Greg, did you want to attend?
Yeah.
Catherine?
Yeah.
Don?
Yes.
Jacob?
yes, sir.
Go ahead and put Michael down too.
Yeah,
Was there any topics for that?
I don't remember John's.
Okay.
I saw one.
I thought I said
can't
did
remember
too.
that, but
I'm getting to.
Seemed like I saw something, but I'd be darned if I can remember.
Okay.
Agenda is Marlot Homestead presentation,
What it was.
and then city summer camps and Seco Park update.
Okay. Yeah, that's worthwhile.
Chico Park update.
I tell you what, I went
it?
to work Wednesday morning and they've got the lights on over there, the new lights,
no,
Oh, did it?
and it almost looks like day on those fields.
I went by there during the day. It looked like they had finished
Where's
the
that?
road.
Seco Park,
Nico Park.
It looks so much better.
it really does.
If I,
Yeah.
fine, we had lunch with this and talking about it, you know. You hate spending the money, but at some point in time, you do have to replace things, and they got their money's worth out of the old last.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I like the road they got into that park now, which is.
I haven't been over there to see
That looks really good.
Well, the other thing they did is they redid the sidewalk there on the north side, and that was needing to be done as well.
I just missed the spider.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Unique, that's for sure.
Look what they did. with it.
I was looking at one thing over there, the concrete Seco Park sign over there.
Uh-huh.
Probably need to think about something else at some point in time. That'll probably be on all of us. Cause it just stands out.
It needs to be updated.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a neon sign or something.
Or maybe like, put a vertical, thing like they did with the floor at the Big 12 tournament.
There you go.
It's pretty cool.
Any changes to the minutes, commissioners?
Anything?
No. Go ahead.
Okay, I move to approve the minutes of the March 9th meeting as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the March 9th meeting minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tentative agendas look okay, commissioners? Any items for next week's press conference? Not yet, Mr. Hanson at 9 o'clock.
Now it'd be interesting to watch that city meeting. Now up to the.
I'm gonna come back and take a look at it.
Yeah,
And I think, I just heard parts of, we had to catch parts of it. Larry Fox was saying, no, we're not, he said, the giveaway of the last year and a half is done.
Bravo.
Also, he said, RHC was wrong, luckily the county stopped it.
I bet they were all.
He gave us some credit.
I said, I imagine they were all very frazzled by that.
So I think Stephanie was a little stunned.
I mean, in all honesty. Just an outline.
Oh, here. No. She was kind of. And taking notes, as you know, they were telling this, okay, she was. Notes that. Things have changed. But
Oh.
Oh, it's on there and I didn't see it. I didn't go through the entire thing, so. I have to say that.
I have a stapler.
I'll take care of that. I just.
So we should have Catherine, Courtney, and Shiloh. Somewhere on some list.
Well, there you go. Very first.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I was looking at it from backwards and I didn't see the notes on the top. Okay.
To senior IT teacher.
Oh, okay.
I'll have a ceremony.
But that, we got a press conference topic.
No.
I told both of my Flint veterans and Ed of us that we've got a date set. 14th, May 14th is when they have to come. I said, yeah, I said. Have they? Okay.
Okay. So I can schedule doctor's appointments in May accordingly. It seems to always be a hang up and I apologize for that.
You know, good.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Well, budget's the biggest duty and responsibility we have. Everything else can take a back seat. Yeah. Guess no steak and lobster this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Better maybe go about it.
Thank you for that.
We we do our business in a certain amount of time frame on Monday and Thursday. Why would we do anything any differently? Quite honestly. Did I hear right? They're gonna start laying carpet in the offices next week? Carpet in the offices
Yep.
next week. Okay.
Monday, I think. I was over there yesterday.
Yeah.
I was too.
I
I was over there.
Delayed like another month.
You want me to throw something at you? Do you want me to throw something at you? Because I totally will.
I got you.
You just saw his eyes.
You know, actually, you can move furniture in there and you can do it without trim.
I just saved you. Save you
Technically.
a medical expense. I'm gonna give you a stress test.
Yeah, yeah.
Be really.
Sadly, I get to go to see the doctor this afternoon. It's not gonna be fun. If I wasn't in that 24-hour window, it would actually cancel today's appointment.
Sorry, no, I just couldn't help myself.
No, it's all right. I try to have a good sense of humor under bad circumstances.
I should have known you had a bad-
You know, what's funny about it is, I was kind of in and out of school when you guys, I guess when we first bought the buildings down there, the building down there.
Uh-huh.
Worked for the moving company that moved everything
told
out.
me
Yeah, yeah. It was in 98, 99. Yep. We took all the old stuff out. I don't know what we did with it, but ordered all the new stuff and moved it back in.
It'd been the first commission that I served with, because I remember the talk was that I think we buy it for 300, 600,000, but either way, we were renting for like 300,000, 100,000 a year. So I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna continue. I mean, even though it wasn't in great shape, we were spending less buying it than.
I remember moving in the furniture in the treasurer's office, which still is the same. I don't remember about the other offices, but
What's that?
treasurer's office,
What about it?
moving the furniture in there.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah. And then upstairs for RCPD when they had their offices there.
So then when you did.
Might have been a little bit before your time, Brad. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, yeah.
So when you did that in the treasurer's office, you realize on that whole side of the building was split down the middle between the treasurer's office and the clerk's office, and the entire
Jeez.
space the treasurer's office has right now.
Hmm.
And our current offices were the
Well, that was
VOCC
the-
chamber.
Yeah. that was the
Yeah.
chamber.
And that's probably the first time I was
You just
actually,
moved across the room?
Hmm?
You just moved across the room and became clerk? Because you were in treasurer's office, you said.
Mhm. Yeah, and we actually used to share because there was like I said, it was right down the middle. The vaults are what separated the side of the treasurers and the clerks. And there was a back way where we could go back and forth and conduct business together. And then, kind of where the HR and that stuff is around back through there is where the real estate office was, so the clerk's office. And
No.
it was designed way differently because the commission chambers was basically just right when you walk into our office now, and that main part that just goes to about Brittany's wall, that was that whole space. My current office was kind of used as a office. They had a like temporary finance admin person the commissioners did at one time that wasn't really officially a finance person. And that was the debacle. Yeah, seen a few changes over the years. Big changes.
judging by our conversations, there's gonna be a few more.
Remember that's before we even had electronic voting machines as well, or even had computerized accounting, tax and payroll system.
Still have the dot matrix, huh?
No, it was Excel spreadsheets.
Oh,
and
okay.
Everything, and yeah, we did have the dot matrix printers for sure.
Yeah.
The big track printers.
Yep.
Big paper.
Bam, 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 bam.
Mhm.
He had,
Yeah, I can actually remember that sound.
when they,
My
I
gosh.
worked in Leavenworth, because they had a printer there between the two bookkeepers. They had built a little cabinet around it with just slot to keep the noise, so they said the noise, because they were constantly printing stuff. And the noise was driving them nuts, so they carpenters built a little enclosed soundproof thing with just one slot for the paper to come out of.
That's what that thing I went and attended for you in the Leadership Manhattan,
Mhm.
representing the county on it. That's one of the special, the biggest change. And I said, well, starting out as the accountant, the general ledger was a manual general ledger, this big by this big by this thick, because we had way more funds back then. I can show you the levy sheets. I mean, treasurer's office had its own fund, clerk's office, they weren't all in general. Going from that to Eileen and I implementing the first tax accounting and payroll system computerized. Significant change.
Judging by the week I had, we can go back to the paper ledgers for all I care. Now you wait until the system breaks and goes down, Brittany. Okay, good. I'm ready to go back to Big Chief tablets and smoke signals.
That could happen, you know.
Life was simpler back then, that's all I gotta say.
I was going through a bunch of pictures the other day, just Alex pictures. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Got categories. I'm gonna.
Be careful, you got a whole generation that doesn't even know what that word means.
Cursive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's big ledgers in the basement, I'm so, yes, they are. Yeah, I don't personally.
You went to classes and.
But, you know, you can't.
Well, here's my question to you, Jay. You were here when Clancy was here. Did you ever read anything he
No.
wrote?
I didn't see
Let's see his scribbles on the calendar.
Teach cursive because you,
That looked like Chinese hieroglyphics.
and my printing has a little cursive in it. But I print.
I've always done the drafting
Yeah.
letters, but I'm getting a little sloppy with that.
Thing is, you never follow the lines either.
I never-
Even wrote it at angle.
Take a class. I think that was it was
Yeah.
like,
It's pretty good.
didn't have.
Did it all the time, so. Where I was looking at this, okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jacob Hanson, Riley County Councilor here for administrative session and also to talk about the lease agreement for the new Aggieville substation. For the administrative session, as kind of per usual, I'm going to talk a little bit about some legislation. Again, there haven't been too many updates, and especially following our presentation by Tom Bruno and Dick Carter on Monday. There's not much I have to add. You will probably seen, I had an email sent out the other day regarding our lovely bathroom bill. And the fact that that is still in place, a temporary restraining order was not granted in that litigation in Douglas County. The Attorney General, Chris Kobach, has mentioned he's going to wait a full 30 days before trying to enforce or do anything in that respect.
30 days from,
From the
From the-
start of
okay.
the bill, so
Not from the-
basically probably,
March 26th,
I wanna say that's-
25th.
Yeah, that's
somewhere
what
around.
Okay.
I remember that.
And yeah, we've already put in place, work with John Ellerman on getting, some posters put on any of the places that would qualify as these multiple occupancy private spaces. So we've addressed it as far as.
Jake, I've got a question on
Yeah.
that. What is our statutory requirement to even provide public bathroom? I mean, do we have one?
I wouldn't. I honestly, I haven't looked into the question before, but I can't say that I would be reluctant to say that there is an obligation to provide
Okay,
a public restroom, but
just something to think about maybe in the
yeah.
future.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I've heard conversations about sometimes the easiest way to do it is to remove stalls or label them as unisex and then have a
All
lock so only
gender.
one person can be in there at a time. There's ways to handle it that way, but
I saw what that looks like in Chicago O'Hare. I remember I sent you a picture.
yeah. So
That wasn't a joke. That was for serious purposes.
I've
Okay.
seen them.
I think the good news is we're positioned, I think, well enough to handle the fact that this has been put in place.
Hmm.
One thing I've advised the folks is we'll probably want to work on putting a form together, if this thing survives additional scrutiny, because the temporary restraining order is just kind of the first, emergency action that can be done by a court, but they can still put in an injunction later, under maybe a little bit of a lesser burden. So
Gotcha.
it's still possible that this thing gets put on hold, and then, either, who knows, a year from now, actually get decided whether or not, it gets stayed. So we'll monitor it accordingly, but as far as the county's protection goes, I think we're good to go either way.
On the driver's license side, I know we're not doing driver's license, maybe it's another good reason not to be doing driver's license. Did they issue anything on that side of it? I didn't catch that. Or is it just the bathroom?
So the litigation is for both.
Okay.
And honestly, the most time is spent actually, I would say, on the driver's license issue rather than the.
It's more
the
complicated.
bathroom bill. Well, their argument, from my understanding, was just that they didn't give these people enough notice, enough time to be able to comply with the
Gotcha.
law.
Okay.
So that was their argument. Judge actually did not find that, I don't think, convincing, because more than half of the individuals that were affected have already completed change. So there is that.
Nice. Good.
And unless you guys have any other questions about any specific legislation or something you would like me to.
Yeah. The property tax bill that's now over in the Senate side is changed once again.
I did see it was, last I seen it was, basically the changes were reverted back to where it's 10% of the last general election.
Well, they changed the dynamics of it too, where we can only go up to revenue neutral. We have to be revenue neutral plus the rate of inflation. And that's the threshold. So if you are a county, municipality, I guess school district, I don't know where school districts fit in that, because they didn't fit in the revenue neutral to start with. But if you're not revenue neutral already, I think that would force you to have to be revenue neutral. And then you'd get the option of, I guess it's 2.8%. So that's actually your threshold. So if that was to take place in current budget year, then
Yeah.
you're,
Well, and then
you're budgeting downward in 2027.
And then they also should specify what type of CPI, because they're
Right.
API by
Yeah.
regions, and it's by the US entirety, so.
It's
It's
going to be a very different bill that comes out of the Senate, that comes out of the House. So it'll have to go back to the House. And if they can't agree on that one, then it goes to Reconciliation Committee, and who knows what happens there.
Yeah, that's the truth. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye and see where it goes as much as we can. Anyhow, anything else on legislative matters? Okay, we'll move on to the RCPD lease agreement. This has already been in front of you guys a few times. This is circulated through a couple of our staff committees at this point in time, and I included the car that from Deputy Director Friedline from previous, just so you guys can see that. Again, she talked about the old space. As far as the lease agreement goes, the only things that we've changed or worked with the company to change were the escalation. They had a flat 3% escalation. We changed that to match CPI of our region. So that way it just tracks inflation. If it's lower, then great. If it's hopefully not higher. But so we changed the rate to that. We made sure that they had 3 parking spots. You'll notice that on premises. And that was the extent of really the modifications that the staff thought were necessary. So it's ready to be executed should the county commission decide to do so. And if you have any questions about the lease or any of the terms within it, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, this has not been approved by the law board yet.
It doesn't have, it can't be.
I know, but they haven't even looked at plans or anything yet. So I mean, it's kind of.
I mean, we could make a contingent on that. That's fine, but we have a duty to provide the
I
facilities.
understand that, but
Mhm.
it's something that probably should be presented to the law board.
I mean, ultimately, I can't speak for what should or shouldn't be in front of the law board, but I would think you know, I don't know what kind of expenses they would incur by doing the move, or if they've had that conversation.
No, there hasn't been. So that-
There might be things, but again, that's outside kind of our purview, at least. This board's, but if you guys want to make it contingent, we can hold off on that, that should be fine.
Well-
It's not supposed to go into effect as far as I know, well, it's not supposed to go, until January 1, 2027. I'm not sure there
Is
are any
that
other days.
Space gonna be
Because we have a
done?
meeting
Yeah,
like
for-
next week. Oh,
Radiator, major.
Yeah.
So our goal is to move, so we haven't signed the new lease for next year for the new ag substation, for the old Aggieville substation. So the goal of this moves forward is to start making that transition in October. So when it's complete, start that. And the initial goal is to use the equipment that we have, all the furniture equipment there at the current substation and move that over. Now, some of that is pretty outdated. So I have to look at that and where we're doing there, but the intent is to move those computers and everything over to that. So hopefully it'll be a minimal expense of outfitting that new location with that. So we don't see that we would have to have a large use of furniture or anything like that.
and that would be our cost. Would we have to, the county have to replace furniture, computers, those kinds of?
Just the space.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, correct. So how we've always operated, at least since I've been in the police department, is anything that we use that can be moved from there that we're responsible for. As the police department, that's on county expense, that's how the arrangement is. So we wouldn't see that we would come to the county for furniture or anything of the like, so.
Well, I know when we were discussing the other location over there, the other parking garage over there, I mean, we went back and forth on that, but law board made one determination, we made another determination that was separate than their recommendation, so.
Well, and
Yeah, I think that was a
This-
really different scenario.
Yeah, it really was, yeah,
We
I
didn't
agree.
have to be-
we had to build that one out.
That's correct, yeah. Both
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
Here, you know, the developer has been, very forthcoming in wanting our presence there and working with the police department and at his own expense, building that out to what we would like it to see. And so it's, I think it's a really good value. And trying to look towards the future at a place that we can, long after I'm gone, hopefully will still be in existence there. So, yeah, I think that's our intent is to once that space is finished, it's my understanding is towards the end of near October or so, towards the end of the year, we would start to make that transition.
I can live with it.
Well, I'm good with it. I'm just kind of
Um,
thinking a lot more to take a look at it.
Commissioner Foggy, I think what we could do if you wanted is that we could put it on for the next law board. Or
That's
even talk about
next-
it Monday.
Yeah, that's next week.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Even talking about it Monday, and then if we needed to address it, but
revise.
yeah, exactly. I think it's like,
I really like the meeting.
As long as there's a majority.
Yeah,
When you,
table till next Thursday, but just, could make some kind of a presentation to the law board, so everybody, I mean, we know what's going on. I don't know how much the others know.
yeah, I hear discussions.
There's been some discussion about it, but just,
I think we had a discussion in prior.
I think so, yeah.
To enter into discussions. We knew that we weren't going to renew the lease agreement with the current substation. And so, but how do you want to address or handle it? I don't know, if you think they wouldn't agree to.
I don't, like I say, I don't think nobody's gonna disapprove of it, but, just an informational thing that, this contract, I think we go ahead and sign it because it's gonna happen, but even if we sign it today, it's just some kind of a presentation saying this has been signed and this is, how the plans are going, just an update.
Yeah,
For
happy to
Monday.
do that. I mean, I don't know if it'd be more beneficial to go ahead and sign it or not. I think that's up to you.
Yeah.
And then we can still talk about it on Monday, like you said. But
Might be my understanding that I don't know if we wait till, let's say, next Thursday, I don't think there's any implication as far as what happens. So in that case, I would probably recommend you table until next Thursday. Have your discussion on law work, get that extra information, and then just have it ready to sign on. We can even put it on as business. item.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. So let's just do it as a basis.
Yeah, I prefer that.
Yeah, that'd work.
All right. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, well, that concludes it unless commission has any other additional questions for me.
Get some.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, Amanda Webb, 920.
You can go back and chat right now while you're standing.
Having a meeting tomorrow with Representative Louie on the Keats thing.
Oh,
Sorry.
That whole thing, did you like that Sadie Hawkins thing? Sadie Hawkins.
I sent, because one I didn't show, but I sent it to Jacob and Amanda. Yeah, it's that. Because I thought somebody brought up, oh, if there's something you can't dig there, I'm like. Engineer, you know, and they both, and I said, yeah, just have the engineers say, yeah, we've done that. And
Well, we've just, so many times.
like I say, it said Sadie
Wins.
Hawkins, I'm going. And then the email at the top of it isn't the same as the email at the bottom.
Tried to call that phone number and it just, it doesn't do anything.
Oh, so
It's out of Oklahoma.
no, I don't know.
The phone number
No,
says, it, but,
South Carolina is where that area code is.
you know, I pulled it up and called it the Oklahoma, the one I had.
Oh.
So much. It was crazy. I had to have a big laugh.
Tried to read through that and it was so distorted, you couldn't even tell what it was about. Is he the one that won't sign the easement?
Yeah.
For you. So. Good.
Yes.
Got a second? Do we have a second?
Oh, okay. Did you see it? Come in, so.
Yeah.
You think that was okay, or?
Yeah, I don't, the only reason why is because. So, yeah, I do speak about your list and how.
Yeah, it's
not.
It's great. He's in California right now, so he won't be here. So, yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. Yeah, there's still, it's still. I'm getting old, Shiloh.
It's rough.
It is. It's never gonna get better either. Yeah, well, no, I asked, I asked G, I asked G, hey, well, what if something you're gonna do this and that's what I do. I was like, yeah, I didn't want. Yeah.
It'd be more than that.
It might, it depends on how that inflation turns out with this whole Iran thing.
Yeah, it's not looking too good. From what I hear.
It's always something. Probably also means there won't be money to fix all the natural disasters.
Amanda?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director. Here to work on the resolution for the Rural Economic Development Advisory Board, REAB. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, we had conversation about expanding membership to allow for regional members and then also somebody from City of Manhattan, if they're in support of that. So basically, we just have the resolution here to formalize that. What we did was say that one member can reside in Potawatomi or Geary counties, provided they have an economic development tie to Riley County. And then also one member can reside anywhere in Riley County, including City of Manhattan. We did include that preference would be given to applicants who are in unincorporated Riley County or in the small cities, though we are allowing for one member, again, one regional member and one member anywhere. So that's what we talked about, the direction folks gave. So we just have this resolution here before you to formalize.
Okay. And just refresh my memory here, there's 2 current openings, one may or may not be. Okay.
Right. Currently, there are two vacancies.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I may have a second one for you, but
Okay.
we'll get to that later.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with this. It opens some things up, and I think as we've realized over the course of time, a lot of people work and play here in Riley County, but don't necessarily live here in Riley County. And there's a plethora of reasons why that's the case, but it is what it is. But I don't think we should ignore the fact that economic interest is still economic interest regardless of some, Okay, if there's nothing else. Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution 031226 to allow one REAB member to reside in either Gary or Potawatomi counties with an economic development tie to Riley County, and to allow one member to reside anywhere in Riley County.
I'll second.
Yeah, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 031226 to allow one REAB member to reside in either Gary or Potawatomi counties with an economic development tie to Riley County, and to allow one member to reside anywhere in Riley County. All in favor?
Aye.
All three, please sign.
Thank you very much.
Hold up just a second. Okay.
Commissioner Shell, 9:30.
Yeah, that.
Here you go.
Thank you, Amanda.
Where did I put this? Oh, there it is.
The Senate Bill 404 for the treasurer fees, that was meant for emergencies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that might be.
Good deal.
Oh, Charlie, I'm sorry, did I spoil it out there? I'm sorry. I didn't even say, I'm sorry. Well, I said it quietly up. Captain's not going to, so it doesn't.
I heard nothing. I heard nothing. I heard nothing.
She told me yesterday.
I have more to say on it. too.
Good.
No, that's fine, yeah, I'll.
It's still a thing.
It was just a very small.
Ready? All right. Good morning, Commissioner Shyla Hager, Riley County Treasurer with the February revenue reports. The month of February ended with total assets of 79,413,551.42. This shows you the breakdown of those assets on hand. And then the corresponding fund balances have a balance in the general fund of 12,410,782.02. Our ARPA disaster fund is at 1.7 million. We are starting to collect second half taxes, so our tax holding funds are starting to go up as those second half taxes are coming in. Our February investment income. Year to date, 581,298.41, which is 20.76% of what we have budgeted for 2026. Our active checking account earned a rate of 3.65% in the month of February. And we did get I did place some money in a CD at the rate of 3.85%. The ARPA account interest to date is $17,285.51. Our general fund revenues for the month of February is we came in at 36.96% over what was budgeted for the month of February. You can see year to date, we have collected just over 44% of our budgeted revenue. And some of those big areas that came in is sales tax and investment income came in a little bit higher than what was budgeted for the month. And here you can, that just shows a breakdown of what it looks like just through the month of February. We had budgeted 16,764,000, came in year to date through February 28th of 17,151,000. Sales tax that was retained, and February sales tax represents December, so that would be your Christmas timeframe. You can see here, the county retained $262,262.12 of the total sales tax that came in for the month of December. That's almost 30% higher than was last year. I did go through to see kind of why that, and I did notice that there was a dealership that they actually remit their sales tax annually, so that was there was a big number.
Lots of big bows on cars during Christmas, huh?
Yeah, so, and you can see here that was actually 43% higher than what we had budgeted for the month. Year to date, we are sitting just right over budget, 20% of what we had budgeted for the year for the general fund. Road and Bridge, that also came in much higher than at this time last year, 314,741.33. And we are over 10% over budget for the Road and Bridge sales tax fund. Total sales tax, you can see here, it's up year to date, it's up 14.7% compared to this time last year. And a pretty significant increase from the prior month of 35.06% higher than the previous month. And here you can see the total breakdown of how those sales tax dollars came in. Retail trade, 663,000. And then here you can see there's that pretty significant increase in autos for sales tax for the month of December. Treasurer office statistics, we processed 2,393 renewals. February is still finishing up heavy truck season, and also the letter A renewals were due in February. That's almost a 7% increase from February of 2025, and 25.37% of our renewals were done online. We've processed over 1,000 titles for the month of February, which is a 7.76% increase from last year. We did process 396 commercial supplements for the month, which is a 7% increase from last year. And we processed 4,351 commercial vehicles in the month of February. I will also also related to motor vehicle, as we implemented the facility fee through the month of February, we have seen an increase of about just over $7,000 in our revenues for motor vehicle through February. But once again, that's also a smaller month of renewals and people coming in. So we should see those facility fees increasing going forward. Just a reminder, March renewals are due by Tuesday, March 31st. Those are last names and businesses beginning with the letter B. We will be making the second tax distribution to the taxing entities on March 20th. Second half taxes are due May 11th. They must be postmarked on May 11th. And then at the time of this writing, Senate Bill 404 was still under the line. However, it did get moved above the line in the Senate, and they held a hearing on, or they debated the bill on Monday and passed on Monday, and then they went to emergency action and did final action Monday evening, and it passed 33-7 out of the Senate. And we actually, I was notified yesterday late afternoon that we have a hearing on Monday in House Transportation. So if the board would like to weigh in on, go ahead and send in testimony on that. That hearing is Monday at 1:30.
Do we have time to get anything in?
I mean, I could write something up pretty quick and I'll work with, I can work with Shiloh on maybe.
Are we good with that?
Which one?
Yeah.
Which one's 404?
It's the motor vehicle fee bill.
Oh,
That, and, so, and just to remind you, commissioners, what this bill does, it allows the county to determine what our county service fee will be, up to $15. The approach that we've decided to take this time is that a one size fit all approach is not working for the counties. What Johnson County needs is not the same as what Riley County needs. And so, and it also changes the facility fee to a transaction fee so that it also will be captured on online and mail-in information as well. There is a sunset provision put into the bill where it's only going to be good for 2 years. This is to allow the legislature and the Department of Revenue to look at some other options on how they might want to look at motor vehicle going forward. So this is by no means a fix-all approach, but it will give us some relief, at least for the next couple of years, if it does get passed. I will be going on behalf of KCTA to testify, well, on behalf of Riley County and then
Right.
as the legislative chair of the Kansas County Treasurers Association.
Just want to be sure we have consensus, the board for staff, but the testimony.
Yeah. Absolutely.
On behalf of the board.
Yeah.
I just saw two heads shaking, a little conversation, but it wasn't clear.
I'm just not clear how we're gonna do that on a fast turnaround.
I can put out a letter pretty quick.
Okay,
Yeah, I have, a deadline is Friday at noon, so
okay.
if, so yeah, any other questions
Do we
that I
have to
can?
sign it?
Tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll sign it on behalf of you guys as your lobbyist.
Okay,
That's what I put on here, is on behalf of the board.
okay.
Oh, okay, that's what I was wondering. Do we need to
Yeah.
get in and sign it
It
tomorrow?
helps, they have.
I mean, if I need to, I will.
Yeah.
I'll find time to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
all the support we can get. There, I believe there might be some amendments put onto it. I think the $15 they think might be a little too high, but honestly, for our county, that still doesn't
Yeah.
make us, because of the number of transactions that we perform, it may not make us whole, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Every little bit helps.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for me or about my report for this month? Commissioners?
Nope.
All right, well, we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Just you today, Kristen?
It's just me.
Good deal. Well, we're glad to have just you.
Yeah. Well, good morning, commissioners. My name is Christian Bishop, and I'm the Director of Military Relations for the Manhattan Area Chamber. As you guys joked, you guys are stuck with just me today. Darren is on his way back for traveling in Arizona with a Meet Kansas, hopefully meeting some prospective businesses and industries wanting to come to Kansas. And Allison Booth, our Director of Talent and Strategies, is actually at Flint Hills Job Corps. It is Manhattan Leadership Day. So we are starting off at Job Corps. They will be spending a couple hours at different schools, USD 383 schools, to learn about school systems, and then finishing up with MATC. So I'm going to do her update. So as far as workforce and talent initiatives in Riley County, Home in the Heartland, the Make My Move, has already contributed to 3 successful relocations. 2 individuals are employees of Amazon, and a new employer in a region. And then 1 is an individual who is going to be working for a Leisler Oil Company. 20 local employees last month attended a lunch and learn webinar just to learn how to leverage the 5,000 relocation incentive in recruitment. And then as far as NBAF talent and outreach, of course, you guys all know NBAF's initiative to hire 150 or even more new employees. So we are going on a targeted outreach service to transitioning military, local colleges, partnering with Kansas Works and other regions. Like I said, we are having our KEEP tour in June. And so NBAF and a couple of our other industries will kind of be our big targets to keeping some of those 2,400 service members to stay here.
There was a newly established, as you guys know, the chamber split into 6 divisions. And the talent divisions had their first meeting. And so right now they are working on identifying work barriers and prioritizing strategies for maximizing community impact. And they are going to be working on survey businesses just to gather data on how we can not only retain, recruit, and allocate proper resources. Task force has been started with K-State. It's a student employer connection to reinforce K-State's goals of applied learning experience by 2027. So some of those initiatives that Allison's been working with K-State on is collection platform on Handshake, paid internships, and then of course partnering with local businesses for K-State students. And then yesterday she had the opportunity to do Higher Paths Career Hunt. And so yesterday at the K-State Student Union, if you drove by, you would have seen tons of buses because there was over 400 7th graders there with over 12 industries of hands-on learning and actually 36 local businesses helped. So that was just a partnership with Manhattan Area Tech, of course us, and then Potawatomi County. So I'm just transitioning over to my military relations report. Last month, it was great. Like I said, Victory Welcome, getting back in. We have our new visitors guides. So it's always exciting getting those out. So they had over 350 service members welcomed. And a lot of family members. Actually, last week when I was there, I think there was 111. And I know it wasn't every one of them, but at least 20 of them actually had already said they were living or in the process of getting apartments in Manhattan. So it was kind of great to share the Made for Manhattan, let her know of the streets, some construction, things like that. As far as innovation and workforce pipeline, not only did I talk about working with Allison on retaining service members, but last month we had Fort Riley and then TDI from K-State talk about another way that they're building on the workforce pipeline with just innovation and industry. And then in April, we're bringing in Kansas Department of Commerce, and they're going to talk about how employers could hire veterans, service members, families, and some of the initiatives that the Kansas Department are doing for that. And then, of course, we had Big Red One Day on February 25th. So luckily it was too cold, so there was no run. So I think that helped more participation. But they did get to do some PT and check out some of the gyms on post. But we were able to tour the hospital and just some quality of life facilities. If you haven't heard, the CG is really excited about the dining facilities because they're going into a more of a campus style. So we did eat at one of the new dining facilities. And then tour the Victory Forge, the innovation lab. And then we were able to participate in a Victory Welcome Patch ceremony. So all new soldiers that come in, there's a ceremony that basically welcomes them to Fort Riley where they get their official Big Red One patch. So we did participate in that. And then that actually was just as probably a rehearsal. So I don't know if you guys heard yesterday, Secretary of the Army was on Fort Riley. He also did tour the hospital, the Forge Innovation Lab, because as you know, he is really big on innovation and any 3D technology. And then he did explore the deployment facility. And a little birdie did tell me that he did not only stay, eat, and shop in Manhattan during his stay. So it was great to have him here. And then lastly, just an exciting time, USD 383 and Fort Riley did sign an intergovernment service agreement. So that is just a great thing for the school district and Fort Riley to partnership as Fort Riley looks to expand construction, update their barracks. They will now have a partnership with USD 383 where USD 383 can do some contracting, which cuts down on time and ultimately does come back into the pockets. And then my last thing is just, as you guys know, it is deployment season. So First Brigade is in the process of returning home. This month you will hear your windows shake and rattling as Fort Riley does prepare. One of their exercises, they will be in the field here, and Second Brigade is in the process of heading to NTC for the month. So I know I gave you a lot of stuff. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Do not blow away.
Yeah.
Commissioner, here, the executive session at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Need a thank you. Yes.
Guys, lost ETN.
Yeah, to the Saints. He's from Louisiana, so it's good for him. We lost Devin Lloyd on defense too.
You've lost basically like all of the first stringers. Defense. Nice.
At least the back half of the defense, yeah.
Yeah.
But you got Kenneth Walker.
We do have that. Oh my God, that is nice.
Well, I guess the question becomes, does Andy Reid run the football? Because he doesn't like running football.
If you got an enemy, man, I feel pretty confident.
It would be smart for him to do so, though.
Absolutely. I mean,
Off some of the wear and tear.
especially now,
Yeah.
why don't we try to like,
I mean,
wait, you can.
You got $55 million a year invested there. I mean, you know.
Do that.
What you think of Max Crosby? All that.
What a joke.
Then we got Trey Hendrickson, though. I mean, that's
Wow.
so fast.
He must be in worse shape than you think. That's the only thing I can say.
They Trey's consent.
Older.
Mhm.
Still, Crosby's 28. Yeah.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Trey looks like he's 25.
Yeah, might look it, but in terms of actual age,
Wow.
they got him. I won't say considerably, but they got him at a little bit more of a discount, so.
Yeah, I wonder where Crosby's gonna go if at all.
I think he's probably stuck with the Raiders, probably. They made some pretty substantial upgrades themselves.
Yeah.
Got to figure with Mendoza coming in, I'm assuming. They don't really have one because they let Geno Smith go to the Jets, which I think is. No, I think their goal is to draft Mendoza and
Yeah.
let Kubiak.
Are they not?
Mhm.
Bottom pig, I swear.
Well, they've got like 12 picks over the next 2 years. I mean, if you hit on all those, you're doing pretty good, but they're an organization that doesn't hit on those. Yes, they'll be a good weapon. You got Genty, who I think he's got a miserable offensive line. You just can't win with that.
I can't get him. Stay, I just like. I don't know.
Well, in a certain offense that works, but not the one they had. That's amazing. He still ran for almost 900 yards. Yeah.
Favorite linebackers and.
Leo. Yeah.
I
That's a big
sense.
yeah. I always say when it comes to secondary, especially corners, you can find a corner somewhere that's in the draft. That's usually pretty easy, but gotta run the defense. It's much tougher.
Is he off top or last year's off season?
There's a lot more free agents this year than there is most years, so.
That's just because. More involved than you.
Well, the problem is you don't have any cap space.
I didn't have the restructured ones yet.
Mm-mm.
They have no, so, we've had a lot.
Mhm. Well, I mean, that's not, trust me,
Yeah,
that's not a big loss. I was kind of
No,
happy. I was
I
like,
thought-
all right, Chiefs, I gotta go for it. But you got Creed, you got Smith. I mean, you've still got a pretty decent offensive line. Just tackles. This is a tackles draft too. You got quite a few choices, late rounds.
Yeah.
Well, guessing you're gonna have to go secondary now.
As an ass, I can see
Yeah.
that.
The pundits had him choosing Jeremiah Love, but see that.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna move that the county commissioners, including Chairwoman Foki, Vice Chair Ford, and Commissioner McKinley, with Jacob Hansen, County Counselor, Attorney for the Commission, Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources Director, and Anna Burson, County Appraiser, recess into executive session pursuant to the non-elected personnel exceptions to the Kansas Open Meetings Act in order to evaluate the performance of a department head, and the open meeting to resume in the county commission chambers at 10:30 a.m.
I'll second.
Yeah.
So,
Ahead of myself, I'm sorry.
It's been moved and seconded for the county commission to recess into executive session for the reasons previously stated under the non-elected personnel matters exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. All in favor? Aye.
Commissioners, the meeting is live.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to read this.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
Oh, hang on, I guess.
Okay, I'll make a motion that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
Second,
Moved and seconded that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Also move that the record reflect no binding action was taken during the executive session.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded that no binding action was taken during the executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioners?
Uh,
You need a second?
I just have to re-sign in. It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing there. I'm just.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brittany Phillips, Budget and Finance Officer. That's Corey, this is Cricket. I did not do it. It was already like that. We'll start.
Watch, investigate.
Go ahead. Was not me. We'll start with economic development. No additional revenue has been brought in for the month of February, and we didn't have any expenditures for the month of February as well. Any questions about that one? Building cash flows, we brought in $33 and
$33.50.
yeah, that's
Spend that wisely.
Yeah.
And spent 57,370, bringing our unencumbered cash to 402,405. Next, we have CIP. We had $20,000 come in. I put that in the wrong line. It should be a transfer. It was not, it's not additional revenue or anything. It's just a transfer in. And we had $275,560 worth of expenditures, bringing our unencumbered cash to $29,985,989. Any questions on any of these? Next, we have half-cent sales tax. We didn't bring anything in February for revenue, and we again did not have any expenditures, bringing our unencumbered cash to $6,032,977. Our other sales tax, no revenue in February. That's not right.
That's
No,
not
no,
right.
no, that's not right. I'll check, I'll verify. I might have missed it. I am so sorry. Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely missed that. Apologies, commissioners. So whatever Shiloh said this morning, that's what we brought in. Total expenditures were $5,933, bringing our unencumbered cash on this report to 7.6, but it's probably closer to 7.8 or above 7.8. And then we have all of the ARPA projects. Any questions on any of this? Thank you, commissioners.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm well, how are you?
Good.
Good morning, Catherine Hensler, Director of the Riley County Historical Museum, coming to you this morning with our monthly staff update. So these statistics will be from February of 2026. We'll start as normal with our visitation and tours. You can see our total for the month was 389, and that's visitation at all of the historic sites owned by the Society as well as the County Museum. So decent attendance for what's normally a quiet month. So comparatively with this year versus last year, you'll remember that we had higher numbers than normal in February of 2025 because we reopened the permanent exhibit gallery. And so what we see for 25 is elevated than what is typical for February. So our numbers this year in 26 are actually pretty decent. They're on par with what is average. We just had such a good year last year, or a good year last month. Volunteer hours, a little bit low than normal, and that was in between the general volunteers, our intern hours, and our Historical Society Board of Directors. February just typically and historically tends to be a quieter month for a lot of our programs as well as activities. With education and outreach, on February 9th, we hosted a tour with the St. Xavier School at the Wolf House, and 9 people attended. February 12th, we held that collaborative program with Arrow Cocktail Lounge that they called Drinks and Thinks, and it was kind of a morbid Valentine's program, Tales of Love and Loss, and we had 57 attendees. So the room was packed and we had a great time and learned some darker parts of history. February 25th, we hosted a tour with K-State's Museum Studies program. Dr. Lauren Jones brought her students over and they were learning a little bit about behind the scenes of museums. So we often joke the good, the bad, and the ugly of museums. Oftentimes students, as they're getting into the career field, see the front side of a museum, they see the public section, which is often nice, clean, and what we want our visitors to see. They don't often get the behind the scenes tour. And all of you have taken the behind the scenes tour before as well. And you do know, we have a museum that shows a lot of reality. And so we like to bring the students back there to show them a little bit about issues dealing with storage and maybe climate control, collections, issues, and so on and so forth. So we typically host about 2 to 4 of those tours every year. And this is about the time frame when they start. So we'll probably see maybe 1 more this spring and then 2 in the fall. Looking at our collections department, we brought in 5 incoming donations. And just as a reminder, that means 5 individual donors. And with those individual donors, 18 objects were brought into the museum. I should say donated to the museum. Our curators were able to process 7 other objects that were in backlog. And while we're still working on a big mass deaccession, we don't have any numbers to report that a formal deaccession took place. I will mention last night at the Historical Society Board of Directors meeting, they approved another round of deaccession books from the library. So when they finally, when I say formally deaccession, that means we have had a chance for the committees to approve, then the board has approved, and then our curators have issued all of the paperwork and gotten those deaccessions completed. When that number comes to you, it's going to be in about the realm of about 5,000 objects. So brace yourselves. It's not that far around the corner, but it will be a big number. That effort has taken place over the course of the last 1.5 years. So you are well aware that we've been working on the library. And so those numbers will be coming to you soon. Oh, I guess, and I also want to mention, the Historical Society Board of Directors did approve a $30,000 budget for both our organizations to bring in a contract registrar that'll help with the backlog of the collections that we've got at the museum. And so they will be funding that contract position completely, and all of the HR paperwork will be going through that. However, we've received 7 applications, 3 are qualified, and we actually started our interviews yesterday. And so hopefully within a month or so, we'll be able to announce who's going to be coming on board to support that operation. Moving into archives and library. We always joke at the museum, we're history people, we're not mathematicians, so I'd like to apologize in advance for getting the wrong number up there. In February of 2026, that should actually say 16 interactions at the bottom, not 10. And so we hosted 5 external research requests, 5 in-person appointments, and 6 photo permission requests. As far as building and grounds, everything is going well with the museum site and grounds. However, we do have that collaboration with the Kansas Historical Society concerning the Goodnoe House. And if you have visited anytime within the last few years, you're probably noticing that the windows and doors are needing some restoration work. So I'm coordinating with the KHS to start getting estimates on what a full window and door restoration project for that property will be. KHS will fund that. That's not something that's going to come back on the county books. And then our historical society, Riley County's Historical Society, will also step in and help support with some of those expenses. So ideally, we'd like to have this work at least under contract by 2026. And started in 27, but that's really going to be up to the contractor, how we can get on that list and what the timeline looks like. At the same time, we're also trying to work with the Kansas Historical Society on what to do with some of those outbuildings. Not all of them are historically accurate or were even there when the Goodnows lived there. So the State Historical Society is trying to determine what to do with them. One is the reproduction cabin and the other is the carriage house. I have nothing to add on staffing, except everybody's doing great, and I'm pleased with everybody's hard work and motivation. Our Historical Society has officially hired a new society administrator. Her name is Jen Pursley, and she started working with the society on February 9th. So the last month has been a lot of training and getting her up to speed with all of the operations of the Historical Society. She has a background in working in the public sector with administration and project management.
She from the area?
She is, yes. Yep, Deep Creek area.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, and so she's been going through training so she is out of town right now. But I would like to bring her to one of our staff updates in the near future to introduce her to you. She is the key to allow me to step away from doing the nonprofit work and step over and really focusing on county museum operations and cleanup. And so that is a position that's fully funded by the Riley County Historical Society. There's no expenses being incurred on the county through this. And then upcoming events on April 2nd, we are kicking off our 2026 program schedule with a new program called History on the Road. We're going up to Riley, Kansas, and this will be a free program. It'll be from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. that evening. Farmhouse Restaurant is hosting, so we'll be in their event space, but the full menu will be available. So we're not providing food, but people have the opportunity to purchase off of the menu. The idea of this History on the Road program, I know all of you are familiar with the fireside chats, and we ran those for about 3 seasons. So we had good attendance at some and not at others. But what we were hearing was, not everybody from some of the smaller communities can get out to Manhattan. We are the Riley County Historical Museum, and we want to make sure that we're serving all of our communities. And so we're taking these programs on the road to some of the smaller communities, north, south, east, and west of Manhattan. And so we're starting with Riley, and throughout the year, we'll be going to some of the other small communities. So keep an eye on that. They will always be free and open to the public. I can't promise they're always going to have a really great menu to go along with it, but our kickoff will be a fun one. So invite you to come.
She can't go wrong.
I know, right? And they've just been wonderful to work with. So we're excited about that program. It will be a panel discussion. Kevin Larson will be one of our panel members. Yep. And then, so we're interesting because we have weekend hours at the museum. So federal holidays, I know Easter does not show up on the human resources federal holiday schedule. So we are usually open on Sundays, and Easter is on a Sunday. So I guess after I'm done with my report, I do have a question, if I've got time, on how you'd like me to handle that. I don't want to just tell you we're going to be closed that day. I would like permission to do so, but I'd like to understand a bit more about the appropriate process. So I'll jump forward with our other upcoming events, and if I have time, I'll circle back around. April 14th through the 30th, we have our 4th grade field trips at the Wolf House. Last year we had about 650 children go through in 3 weeks. It's a fun program. We need lots of volunteers. So if anyone is interested in volunteering, please get in touch with us. You can reach out to Melanie Highsmith or myself, and we'll get you trained and signed up. But that is a wonderful program. We still hear from, we hear from adults who remember going through that program as children. So it's a great way to teach history and instill, just some community connection with these kids. April 22nd is Grow Green Match Day. The Historical Society participates in this. It's all day. And then May 2nd, we'll be participating in the Flint Hills Festival at Blue Earth Plaza. That is a collaborative program with the Flint Hills Discovery Center. Last year, there were about 9,500 attendees. So it's really good for our numbers. It's a great place for us to go. We take a hands-on history program. I think we washed about 3,000 pieces of laundry last year with these kids. We had the old ringer washers and they had a great time. We had a great time. We were beat. But we are pleased to still be going back. That concludes my report. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. I do believe I have a couple minutes. Could I get some clarification on the best way, like when there is a holiday on a weekend, a day that doesn't fall on the county's federal holiday schedule?
That's what I was gonna ask. Is that considered a federal holiday? Because it's on a Sunday.
Is that appropriate? Is that how you'd like me to handle it? Just,
Yeah. And it's fine.
okay.
I don't think you're gonna have a large attendance on that day anyway,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's a problem.
Is just sending an email appropriate, or would you like me to bring it to a meeting or? what
Just
would
like
be
you,
the best?
and just when you bring your update, if you got one coming up, just let us know
Okay,
to me.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
okay. Thank you very much.
Reorganization 10.
You got coffee back there.
Yeah, and I had some already this morning. And I've decided to have less coffee, but a lot more condensed and in shorter version.
Powerful.
It works pretty well for the most part. I think I must be sputtering now.
Well, daylight savings time in essence.
Uh,
Daylight savings time messes your body rhythm out.
I struggled on Monday and Tuesday like you wouldn't believe. And it's weird, fly out to the East Coast, there's an hour time change just within the day, and it doesn't mess with you. But then again, you're doing that during the day when it's not 2 o'clock in the morning.
We're doing. That's the dark out.
Yeah.
Saying real quick, are you getting my? Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's on.
My computer keeps asking me about update. Should I get it at some point in time to update?
Good.
I just keep saying like, I kept forgetting to ask, to be sure that's what I wanted to do.
Greg, it's time. Greg.
Grandkids.
Okay, I think Greg, you guys.
Yeah, I was wondering. What, there's been discussion that we need to get a timeline. But before we can get a timeline, my thoughts are we need to have a list of what needs to be done. And I don't have, I started on one and I'm sure it's not complete. That's why I didn't attach it, because,
Okay.
but, and I don't know how we want to handle that. Do we want, each of us to compile what, put the list together and then one of us can compile, because I'm sure it's gonna be the same thing on everyone's, but also the department heads get a list of what they think, excuse me, needs to be done. And maybe NHR probably, we just need to, before we can set a timeline, we need to know what it is on that timeline. And some of them, I've talked to somebody and said, well, that's a minor thing. It doesn't matter. Well, every little thing has to be done, period,
Yeah.
that, and I don't know how, what you guys wanted, how you think we can handle it.
Well, I was looking at what Jacob had suggested at one point, how multiple work sessions, and that included like moving of personnel, transfer budgets, rewrite some job descriptions, revision of position and revision of some position. And then county administrator position, we need to get a job description on that. And then, there's space requirements we need to look at and.
Like I say, that's what, we just need to get that whole list combined together. That's, I don't know if we each want to work on a list ourselves and one person compile them. I mean, is that?
Can do that. I think the other thing we have to take into consideration too is we got to figure out how to budget for all of it, and
Right.
there's gonna have to
That's
be a
on
process.
on my
within it.
list. Yeah, that's on my list.
That's where I kind of get stuck on what that time frame is going to be, because I don't know how that's going to necessarily work. I mean,
Right.
in the meantime, you can put all those other factors into play, but it's all gotta.
We've all got to start, and
But you're right.
This budget season's coming up. I would say if we could get something, something compiled by June 1st, and where we're gonna go and our kind of a timeline. That gives us 6 months to work
Yeah.
on where we're gonna get the money, where we're gonna put people.
I think that's fair.
but like I say, that's do we want each of us?
Yeah, I
Make
guess
a
I
list,
can-
start making a list
Yeah,
that I
start
know,
putting
and I
lists together.
talked to David Adams, they said they were gonna start putting a list together
Okay.
too. And somebody's gonna have to compile them and put a list not together, but just say, okay, well, here's what we gotta get done. What do we need to do first? And, just like you said, work sessions to.
Yeah.
Because they have to be public, right? Not
Very much.
not exactly, which I don't want, not trying to get it.
One thing I want to make sure is clear with COMA, sometimes the definition of subordinate groups, and that usually when we're talking about like subcommittees or other staff groups that they create amongst themselves, totally fine. I mean, not subject to COMA. But if you guys create some sort of committee or something along those lines, it could be subject to COMA. So that would mean they just need to have open meetings, which just means you got
Just
to
an
file notice.
Notice and
and,
file,
have to have, let the public access.
Okay.
Those are the only requirements, but just something to keep aware of and one to organize everything that, if you guys create a working group, that might create some COMA implications.
Well, we haven't really created working group.
Yeah, I don't think you have
Yeah.
to.
And I don't know, do we want to do that? Have some, a couple people work on this timeline, or do we want to just have a discussion at our meetings?
I think the three of us can figure out.
Yeah.
Most of it first, and then present
If
it.
it gets a little too hectic, then maybe develop a small committee.
Well, when it starts running the.
Yeah, the more
T6,
people.
Yeah,
it's gonna.
Yes. So,
Yeah, go ahead, Corey.
Corey Meyer, IT GIS Director, one of the representatives of the Department Group, so forth. In regards to timeline, and to give you a general idea, we met ourselves and we had a discussion about that. Maybe this would give you a perspective of some of those things, those pieces that you need to get in there. We met internally. We went to our subject matter experts in Elizabeth and in Brittany and went through. We could highlight some things as far as first and foremost has got to be the position development, which is the job description.
Yeah.
If we could have that by April 15th, then we could move into the financial discussions of it to try to accomplish that by May 15th, so that we're trying to meet budget deadlines. Once we get into that and we know what the job description is, then we can begin to move in the other depths of the financial, which is location. Other departments can evaluate what their needs might be. The clerk's office would know what they might need to do as far as what could be staffing that they have left after the reorganization, and if they have any requests for the 27 budget. Once we get that established, we get into the recruitment process, which would be in May. This would be a recruitment and a marketing process. For this particular position, we need to market this well. We need to recruit this well. We need to get this out. And we already discussed some ideas. Elizabeth has some great ideas on how we'd move forward with that, and we would lean on her expertise as well as Brittany's on the financial side of it. Again, though, that all hinges on, we've got to make a decision though on what this position is and what the job description is. That's key. We've got to have that right off the bat. That way, if you're asking us to work with you and you're working with us on that, we know what we're talking about. What this position is an administrator, a manager, what the job description functions are, be able to explain this is what the organization now looks like when that job description goes out and so forth. Once we get through recruitment in May, then we would get down into a posting that in late May. We would get into candidate interviews in July and August, and then we would get into a selection process with potentially even having a position hired as early as October or maybe even November if we wanted to get a transition into 2026. Again, it started in 2026, though, all depends on where things are financially.
Yeah.
And that becomes, the expertise of Brittany and working with her and what we can do as far as those. If we can accomplish and want to start in 2026, and we'd surely be ready in 2027. We put that out there. There's a lot of other bullet points that we put underneath of these different phases, many of what you guys were just discussing there as far as the depths and details of what some of those are. But we have this as kind of a five phase approach that we could go through. But we do also ask and want an answer from you, just the same as you were discussing. How do you want to handle that group? What do you want to establish so that we can be working on this effectively going forward? Thursday's meeting, Elizabeth is already gathering job descriptions and putting those together from those counties that you discussed. I believe next week. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So she's ready to start to get that information to you. I would say maybe in next week. And we would like to be able to try to go forward, hitting that April 15th date where we are getting that job description established so this can move into financial discussions and then be able to move this forward. So that's a general timeline that we put together. There's a lot of other details that could be discussed. And just as you were mentioning, and as I previously said there, but how do you want to handle that? What do you want to do? What do you want to establish so that we can be working together and effectively moving this forward? So the two things that we are asking is that you do identify what the position is, administrator, manager. We got to get the job description, and then when do you want the start date to be? Because those things set how the whole process will flow.
I'd prefer the start date to be in January of 27, and not tinker with this year's budget and plan for it as we go through the budget cycle for next year.
If we find somebody that's really great that we want to hire early, there's.
I disagree. I mean, I don't want to hire someone right now, but if we can get someone in for a month or two, but figure out how to budget it. Brittany's got money hidden that we can use somehow.
Well, we got all.
And the other one too.
Well,
You're gonna take it out of the lobster fund.
Yeah.
Take it out of his lobster fund. But, and I don't know whether that's possible, but I think it's something we can look into to see if there's a way to make it work. And like I said, if we find someone that, said, you're hired in 6 months, you can start that.
yeah, and then relocation, possibly, there's all sorts of things.
Right, there's a lot of, and that's why I said, there's a whole list of questions that we need to kind of.
And Commissioner Folke it just brought up a factor in there that we discussed a little bit too, is that, depending on what person or, is interested to be hired, do they live here locally? Do they not? Do they need to move into the county? And we're asking for that relocation to happen in the middle of a school year and holiday times, when you get around Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those are factors that we've put in there as well to think about. So if we want to look at an earlier potential for when we select a candidate, but allow for that move process, I mean, those are factors in there.
Yeah.
But again, it all hinges back on that we've got to get the job description settled, put together so we can start the process. And that's all going to hinge around to, what are we titling calling? We've looked at some organizational charts that we put together and how that looks as well. But we're ready to move the needle with you. We're ready to get, work with you. But we do need to know how you want to establish that. As Jake was saying, I don't know the details on the coma and those kind of things, but
Yeah.
we need some decisions so that we can move forward.
Toward the end of the year, that's what I was. But, I'm not saying definite, I'm just saying there's options. I mean, and that was on my list, trying to figure out how this schedule is going to work and how, what we can do. Saying, no, heavens, no. Heavens, no.
Too much for now. That's pretty gung ho.
Yeah, that's.
Job descriptions that we need to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because there's others, job descriptions, not necessarily changing their jobs, but they're changing who they're going to be, who they're reporting to.
Right.
So those all have to be adjusted too.
Those are many of the bullet points we put underneath of these phases that we put together, and not to go into the depths and overwhelm the conversation, but you're right, we recognize those too, and there's the chance that you have some that we haven't thought of and vice versa.
Well, and that's why I wanted to bring it to the open discussion, that so everybody can if anybody has an idea of something, oh yeah, that isn't gonna work, we forgot about, oh yeah, we got to get that done, don't we? And I'm sure there's things like that. I started a list and I'm sure it's not complete.
Is that an open discussion that you want to have in a setting like this, or is it?
We need to organize it in an actual work session
Yeah.
type of time. Yeah. And I think developing a description and job title, requirements, duties, expectations, probably needs to come first. And then everything else will fall in line with it, or hopefully will fall in line with it.
Yeah.
A good idea for space.
Okay.
We'll work on that part.
Yeah,
later.
I've got some ideas too.
I think all that sounds really good, and I think your starting point is a great starting point. I think what the commission needs to decide is who you want to gather all that, because not one of you can gather it from each other. And so, meaning you could pass a list to one commissioner or another to see where you want to go. So who do you want as staff?
Why can't one of us, if all three of us, and if one of us takes all three of these things and just not make it and just say, here's the list that everybody put together, not working on it, and not making a thing.
The other two commissioners give one commissioner a list.
Yeah.
That's a serial communication.
Yeah, I mean, it's like.
If you give it to us in an open meeting, hand it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, in an open meeting, you can, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I wasn't saying, speak me something this weekend. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
Set a day next week that we all want to have our list, everybody's list together, and one person accumulate them and kind of summarize them, because, summarize them, and then publish that list have everyone look at that, say, okay, now we got to figure out when this thing happens.
Yeah, I just want to be sure you just want to pass the Elizabeth.
No,
each
no.
other.
No, that wasn't my intention. No, that wasn't what I
No, I
intended.
think it's a good idea.
Okay.
If you have your separate list, I was just wondering who's going to do that work.
Yeah.
Maybe Jacob.
Well, it's gonna be a lot of work.
Send it to
At some
him,
point in
yeah.
time, you're gonna have to
But-
appoint someone to do the
Yeah.
work for you.
Yes.
I mean, naturally, logically, it would be HR. I mean, that's who does that in organizations. And working with Jacob.
Right.
Mhm.
That's one of the intentions, right, is to have more direct communication and access to whatever word we want to use with HR, so I do think I'm capable of helping these.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm more than happy with Jacob. That's not a problem.
Did you have something still?
Thank you for this work session. It's really helpful. But to your point about
funding, if we could fund it in the 2026 budget. I believe that we absolutely can if we're just talking about one position.
Yeah.
Those counties that you're looking at have multiple, there's layers, there's admin assistants or business managers, however you want to call them, assistant administrator. So when we start going through this and start looking at, okay, how many more staff do we actually need to have on top of that? That's where I would say we might not be able to fund a whole department in the 2026 budget. Yes, we could do one person or one position, but I don't think we could do like a full-fledged department in the 2026 year. I definitely think we could work that through the 2027 budget process, but yeah.
But, well, like I say, that's why, that's why I was saying, I don't know what could work, but
Yeah.
that's why we need to start talking now about how this all works, rather than December 1st saying, oh, we're gonna do this in months.
Exactly.
Person might take some time to figure out what kind of staff he or she may need or may not need.
And like I say, looking at
Yeah.
the descriptions, I assume it's gonna tell them. I had thought about trying to contact a couple of them directly and say, what do you do?
And make sure they're whatever their intake is.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot.
Right.
And there's probably some things you haven't considered as far as like at least an administrative assistant or something.
Yeah, well, like I said, I know there's a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to get, this was kind of we've talked about it, let's get start doing something.
Yeah, like you were saying, by mid May, that way we could have it all compiled by June, so we know where we're going.
That would be a pretty nice starting, right? So we have to do some marketing.
Yeah.
Share some information, see what she has to do in front of her. She does believe that we can create some of these great high quality more internally. So that would be good. And I can show you what everything looks like.
So would it make sense to just do a standing item on the agenda, is like for every 2 weeks, we just keep this item on so that way
Couple weeks.
we get time for talk about it, stay on top of it.
We want to set a date of when everybody needs to put a list together. What we do need to set.
Yeah.
Do we want to, we do set a date of when everybody's list.
That'll work.
Get a copy of each of us and then
Well, I'd
bring
like
all
to-
of ours together. I don't know if you can have something by Monday or you want to say it Thursday.
Make Thursday. I'm not gonna be able to get it all done
Okay.
over the weekend.
Have you got most of those other counties compiled?
I've got all responses.
Okay.
I'm working on trying to compile the, but they're all different. So I report one and then I'm gonna try to get to you. Today's Thursday.
Yeah, I'd like to see that before we meet, the next time.
So you're thinking Thursday for you guys and you got this Monday, Tuesday?
So, soon as you can, I mean, to start looking through it.
Yeah, that way we can get an idea on what these other counties
I'll
come up with. do.
And if you just email it to each of us, your list. All right.
I guess just for our department, is there anything else besides this that you would like us to look at, like?
Yeah.
Just this.
Like I say, right now, just say, gotta get something in line. I mean, there's obviously, there'll be plenty of stuff we're asking, but for now, let's just get a line, get a timeline started so we know. We say, oh, you need to start working on this, and we get partway into it. Oh, didn't you
We
go
forgot
back?
about that.
Forgot about that. That's my thoughts on this thing. Yeah. I just want to make sure we don't get halfway through it and say, oh, we never did this, did we? Try to create as few bumps as possible, because there's going to be some. Yeah. Okay.
We can always change things.
Yeah. We just need to, like I say, it's not an outline to get started. But, okay, that's what I had for today.
It's an important one. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna tell you, I was thinking, Ronnie, that I think the administrator office could go in that old executive session. That's really a nice office space over in the other building. It's neat space, but that would be a good spot. I mean,
In our building?
hmm?
Our building?
Yeah, in the old building, that old executive thing where the computers all were and it's cleaned out now.
Oh,
It's really a neat, it's a good size office.
yeah, depends on how
It
many
could
people you
be a
put in
good
there.
spot.
And Commissioner, if you can't do that, remember John recreated that to be used as an executive session.
Right.
Now, at the request of the board, so
Yeah.
it can be changed to that.
Yeah, we didn't-
It's currently designed to be used by you guys.
We didn't know we were gonna do this then, so.
Well,
So
there are
it's
uses
just
for that
like,
space that, believe it or not, we do use.
Yeah.
could chase people out. Yeah, it's possible.
Okay.
Well, do we have anything else?
No, not here. I got other fires to put out, but not
Okay.
here.
Have a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I would make a motion that we adjourn the March 12th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
Second.
So moved and seconded to adjourn the March 12th meeting of the Raleigh County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.